Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the 7th house. In a natal chart, the transit of a moon in a house generally lasts between 48 and 72 hours in most instances. So anyway, people, first thing I want to get at is that when you have the moon transiting your 7th house in your natal chart, you might be a little bit more sensitive to matters pertaining to partnerships and relationships. Matters as far as things with others may take more precedence than as far as things connected to you. You might show a lot more sensitivity with others. If you have a significant other, you might express a more nurturing attitude with him or her during this period compared to what you ordinarily would, perhaps. Now, situations with open enemies or adversaries could be emotional during this time, assuming if you do have any. Now, this could also be a situation when you have this transit. If you're involved, say, in any legal matters or scenarios, they might be a little bit more pressing, and they might cause maybe a little bit more of an emotional strain during this period. This is also a period where you may emphasize a reconciliation and negotiation and compromise more, especially the compromising and reconciliation as far as, for example, like I mentioned before with the open enemies or adversaries. It could be a time where you might attend to legal matters and put a little bit more care into them than you ordinarily would. There might be more of an emotional need to be more popular during this period, and compared to on average, you as far as emphasizing popularity. If you're a person that's really, say you're a fairly introverted person, this could really be that time where maybe it hits home that you feel this need to know more people and to really escalate in term, or really increase your popularity in the people that you interact with. If this is a period where you're just, if you're, say for another example, if you're a person that may be strongly about solitude and seclusion, and in another case, and another example of if you're introverted, you might, and you really don't, if there is no need even in this transit to meet someone, it could be a situation where maybe it hits home that maybe you don't have many people in your life, and it could affect you more emotionally than the average person. I guess it could work two ways. It could either make you want to go out and maybe mingle more, but if you're like an exceptionally introverted person, then you might, another way it might impact you is that maybe it hits home more emotionally, your general situation of not having many people in your life. So that could be another way it could impact somebody. This could also be need to be sociable, more gregarious, may give strong feelings to this person and may make this person feel better about his or her. So this is maybe a period where, and someone that experiences this moon in the 7th house transit may feel more of a need as far as appeasing others, as opposed to things that are egocentric or things that are connected with self-aggrandizement. This could be a point in time where you might see others, and maybe even a significant other, if you have one, as a little bit more temperamental or vacillating or more moody than usual, or they may see you as a little bit more moody and temperamental during this transit. There might be situations with partnerships and in relationships that might be a little bit more emotional than usual. You might feel a need, more of a need during this period to collaborate with others on things as opposed to doing them by yourself. This is more about helping others and doing things with others as opposed to doing them by yourself. The one danger is to try not to maybe become overly or excessively dependent on others during this period, especially if it's something where you may really strongly have the ability to accomplish the task or task yourself. So this is those are some things to consider as far as this transit goes, as far as the moon transiting your 7th house in a natal chart. And really, this could also be about more on one other note is that you might be a little bit more sensitive to unintentional slights from others during this period, or even if somebody does make a derisive or derogatory remark about you, it still might impact you a little bit more emotionally than it ordinarily would. Well, anyway, it's also important to look at the sign that the moon is in during either the majority or the whole transit. Now, let's say that the moon is in evaluable Gemini for either the majority or the whole time it's transiting the 7th house. This could be a period where perhaps talking and communicating with others more in a partnership relationship situation, or if you have a significant other, if you do have one, might be in more of an emotional need during this period. And let's say that another example, that let's say the moon is in Aries for either the majority or the whole time it's transiting your 7th house. This could be more of a need perhaps to initiate perhaps things connected with your relationship or partnership situation, showing enterprise, and it might be you might come across a little bit more assertive and aggressive in these matters during this time, and it might feel good for your emotional well-being, whether it's initiating whether it could be a conversation or a project or something that you might have been putting off or what have you. You might have a little more of that aggressive Aries energy factoring in during this time. Now, let's say also, it's important to look at the aspects that are made to your natal points and planets during this period. Now, let's say, for example, that the transit moon in the 7th house was making a square, inconjunct, or opposition, say, to your natal Mercury during this period. And for that short time where it makes that aspect, it may indicate you may have some difficulty in making objective decisions, perhaps in connection with relationships or partnerships, a significant other if applicable, even something that might be pertaining to a legal matter or an open enemy or adversary. Now let's take another example. Let's say that the transit moon is making a sextile or trine to your natal Venus during this period. Well, that could indicate where it may be auspicious, perhaps for artistic endeavors, perhaps, and perhaps collaborating maybe on something with someone in a relationship, or something where it might be a good decision connected with something monetary, because Venus does rule money as well as relationships, and something that might be monetary, which might have something to do with a relationship or partnership situation, for example, such as a business relationship, such as maybe a move or some decision connected with that. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the moon transiting the 7th house in the natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the moon transiting the 8th house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.